Good morning, everyone, and happy Wednesday to you. It is another incredible day. It is Wednesday, and we are here for our B2B Live, Business to Business Live. Now, today is a wonderful session planned. It's called Strategies for Building a Collaborative Community and Strong Culture. The reason why I have this is because we all have teams. Most people have teams, especially if you have a bigger business or a medium-sized business. Perhaps you're a solopreneur, but you do have support. Then you're also building your team, and you need your team to be able to work together. Essentially, you need to be able to build a community. So a little bit about me, if you are new to the channel, my name is Delisa, and I'm a communications leadership coach, speaker, also a podcast host. And this is my jam. This is my thing. This is what I like to do. I like to work with directors, entrepreneurs, and share with them from my experience, as well as my expertise and training and all the things combined, how they can have an effective team, how they can build a community, a collaborative community that's working together so that overall they can get the results that they are looking for. So keep that in mind. Today, we're really going to be sharing the importance of collaboration and culture in today's workplace, because we need to build community. And you're going to be hearing this word a lot today: community, community, community. And an overview of the session that we're going to have is we're going to be talking about top strategies for fostering collaboration, and then how these strategies contribute to a healthy organizational culture, to a healthy organizational community. And that, my friends, is key. Without further ado, let's get started. Now, when we think of strategy, we're always thinking, what do I need to do? Where am I going wrong? Sometimes we get so caught up in thinking that we have done something wrong or we need to do something new, and we kind of forget, if that makes sense, that we're building a community. One second here as the slides are going through. And so the importance of collaboration and culture. When we are looking at any community, when we're looking at how our community is being built, we want to look at how we are driving innovation, how we are improving problem solving, and increasing productivity. At the end of the day, we have a business. And yes, we're going to practice effective communications. We're going to do all the things that we need to do to bring unity in our teams. We're going to have our goal that everyone is committed to and they're set out to do. But none of that happens without the collaboration. That means every single person needs to be on board. And so that's a big piece of collaboration. All right. The other part is for your organizational culture. Remember, organizational culture, this shapes the staff's behavior. It boosts their morale and enhances retention. Companies that do this, obviously, Google. Most people know Google. And so you'll see a lot of people, they're proud, they're happy to be able to work at Google, past, present, but they're ever expanding. And when you look at some of the top 10 businesses to work in, year after year, they're consistently happy. They have a collaborative community, and they have a culture. It's a positive culture. It's a culture based off of community. And that is what drives them. That is what's driving the innovation and helping them to get the results that they need, as well as boosting morale, because the people are happy. And when you have happy people, they want to be able to, Keep smiling, keep sharing that happiness with others. And that's one of the key factors of the, when you're thinking of collaboration and culture in your organization, within your team, this is, the basis of where you're going to go. Now, the first strategy is fostering open communication. Foster open communication. You want to have communication frequently. You want it to be transparent. You want it to be honest. You want to have communication frequently. You want to have it often, and you want to have it honest and transparent. And that means that you have to actually talk to people. Yes, I know. You got to talk to them, right? You got to understand what it is that they want. Is important. So the open communication piece to foster that. This is when you have instead of having your yearly review, perhaps you want to do it quarterly. Perhaps the initial meetings that you have is understanding this is the ultimate goal. This is what we're here to do, and then bring down what it is. What is it that you want? Why are you here? You got to ask people that, because for everyone it is different. For everyone it is different, and that is how you're going to be building your community. This is how you're going to be evolving your communication. Now you're getting to know people. Yes, shake your head. Yes, you have to get to know people. You got to break down like silos. You got to break down what's happening. Because sometimes we may think how we're speaking, people are understanding, they understand the jargon. But if it's someone that's newer on the team, they may or may not understand it. They may or may not know all of the terminology. There could be language barriers. There's so many other factors that you got to look at. That this is why fostering open communication is important. You have to be open to criticism. You have to be open to hearing what it is that your team, the people have to say. I talked about this last week. It is very, very, very important, as well as be able to give them constructive feedback. And I do mean constructive, not constructive to tear them down in any way, constructive so that they are encouraged, they are empowered. They're like, okay, these are the areas of improvement that is needed. Thank you. We're going to work on it. There is a plan of action. They know what they got to do. And that, my friends, is how you are going to be fostering this communication. It's a whole dynamic. It is ever evolving. It is ever ongoing. But you have to know the people. And that is the foundation of you building your company culture and a collaborative workspace. The next one is you have to encourage cross-functional collaboration. You want to promote cross-functional teamwork. The reason why you want to promote cross-functional teamwork is because, well, when people are out of their comfort zones, you get to see how they really are. Now, these are things that are healthily challenged. You're not putting them in a situation that is not going to help them win. You want them to be in a situation that they will win, obviously. Okay? And so it is very, very important to do that. Like it's wow. You want them to feel challenged, to be challenged, to understand that yes, they know their work, but how their work impacts another team and how another team's work impacts their team, because it's a whole symbiotic flow. We may not realize it. We may not fully be able to digest it or understand it, especially your staff in the beginning. But working with other teams and doing that cross promotional work, it opens their eyes to seeing the bigger picture. Remember, most people, if they're in marketing, if they're in sales, if they're in administration, HR, if wherever they are, that is their zone of genius. That's their area of expertise. And when it's their area of expertise, well, sometimes they can get narrow-minded into that. And the cross promotional work, promoting, like working with other teams, it helps them to open their eyes to see, one, their value and the value that they're bringing and how their work impacts and influences the other and another team, because that other team, their work is impacting and influencing the results at the end of the day. So now, not only is there cohesion among different teams, but this is how you're bringing people together, and you have that collaborative mindset because they know that they know, and they're seeing from experience that what I'm doing matters. This has value. And yes, I want to get the result, but wow, it is also impacting somebody else in a different section that they don't fully grasp it. But when they start seeing it and working with, for example, another team, or they're, on a special project, whatever it is, they get to see a little bit, a glimpse of it. And this now encourages them to recognize, hey, where do I need these areas of improvement? Or it encourages them to recognize that maybe I'm great at this stuff. It's time for that next step. It's time for that next evolution. So there are all of these factors that you have to consider. And on top of that, now you get to see their performance. You get to look at, how is this person working? How is this person, have they accepted the challenge wholeheartedly? What's going on with them? And from the foundation, from the basis, the first piece that I talked about, which is the fostering open communication, as you get to know them, you get to understand who they are, and they get to know you a bit more too. This other piece expands on it. I hope you guys are following along. If you have any questions, feel free to absolutely put it in the comments. I will answer it. Or if you have a comment, if this is something that you do, you're great at building teams, I want to hear your thoughts as well as we go through this session. So remember, communication is key. Foster communication. This is what we want. Number 3, the third strategy, you want to have build a shared vision and purpose. It has to be aligned around a common goal. Sometimes when you have projects, and this is a good one, when we have projects, it becomes easier because everyone knows this is the goal, this is the project that we're working on, so on and so forth. As the head, you're seeing the bigger picture. You know that there's different layers and dynamics and things going on simultaneously all at once. Remember, your team don't see what you see, but they're extremely valuable. Okay, so you have to let them know that what you do matter. And this is why building a shared vision and purpose, aligning around a common goal, makes the difference. And so strategy 1, step 1, fostering open communication, getting to know them, understanding how they think. What do you want? Asking these questions. That it allows you to not only get to know them, but to understand where they are going. Because when you understand where people are going, this is part of the psychology of it. When you understand what it is that they want, then you can place them strategically in an area to thrive, and you know how to best position them to win, and everyone else wins. Now, is everyone going to be happy all the time? Absolutely not. We all have our days. But in general, overall, 95% of the time, they're like, yes, this is where I want to be. Step 2, now you're showing them, especially if they're working with other teams, they got to support another team in some area or dynamic. Well, they're getting to see how what their work is influencing another, and how that other person's work or that other team's work is influencing them, and how it supports the whole. How it supports the whole. I'm going to repeat it a third time. And how that cross promotional work supports the entire vision. And so because you have this shared vision, now you have this shared goal. They understand the mission, the vision, the values, not just of the company, but of what they are doing. And they're walking with you step by step. It makes it easy. It makes it effortless. Now you're not working to do something. Now you're not stressing out. Now there isn't all of these other things, that additional unnecessary things that you have to think about. You can support them the way they need to support you, or you can support them the way they need to be supported in order for them to be able to produce. Remember, it's a business, right? So we have to consistently communicate. You have to consistently communicate your vision in emails, in meetings. You want to ensure that people understand, including you, the core values, and you want to engage your staff in goal settings that align with their personal and team objectives. And this is why the first step is fostering open communication. A lot of people, and I've experienced this, and I was there myself many moons ago, you come into a position and you are now with a team. Now you have to lead a team. What happens is sometimes you come in with, I have done this. I deserve to be here. I. It's about me. And it is not about you. If you want it to work, it's not, right? And now you have to flip the script and recognize if your team is not aligned around the common goal, if you're not building a community, it doesn't matter what you have done, because you cannot rest on any laurels of the past. It matters not, right? In that moment, what the results you're going towards, if you're not aligned, you will not achieve it. It's not to be mean or harsh, it's just a fact, right? If there is disagreement, there will be chaos. If people don't understand what it is that they're doing, and they're not marching to a particular tempo in unity, in unison, they're going to be disbanded. They're going to do their own thing, and you're not going to see the results that you want to have, whatever the result is. And this is the value and the importance of why you have to build a collaborative community and a strong culture. It is about your community. Don't forget, if you have any questions, please put it in the comments below. I want to hear from you. I want to know your thoughts about this. Now, the next step here, one of the other ones that you want to encourage diversity and inclusion, embrace diversity and inclusion. I know this is a topic sometimes we hear in the news, and people are thinking DEI, oh, I have to hit this quota, I have to do that. And sometimes people actually feel that way if they're working for certain organizations. Well, there's a way around that. You have to communicate and foster that communication with people. And that's that first step. When people think DEI, they're thinking, oh, well, I have to hit this percentage, especially in big organizations. Sometimes, like, we have to hit this percentage of a particular sex or race or whatever it is. And remember, people are people. We're people. We're people. So create a culture where every voice is heard, it is valued, because every single person that is on your team, that is on staff, has value, has a voice, and They are there because clearly they have expertise in an area that can help you achieve your goals, to help you win, to help, the company expand or grow, whatever it is. So when you think DEI, don't just think of it as like, well, I got to hit a quota. No, look at them. What value have you brought? What are you bringing to the table? How can we evolve as a company? How can we grow as a team? What is it that you know that I don't know that can help us be better, to produce a better product, to be of better service? And when you look at embracing diversity and inclusion on your team, then it things flow. People feel, they feel heard, they feel valued, they feel appreciated. And guess what? They will give all. They will support you. They will be loyal. They will stand with you. Nod yes, because it's true. Nod yes. We've all been in a position, we've all had some sort of experience where we wanted our voices heard and we wanted to feel valued. And that starts off in the first stage, which is the communication and fostering that open communication. I remember for myself, when I first got into a leadership position, I was young at the time. Oh my goodness, like early 20s, mid 20s at that time. Very green, what behind the ears, right? I didn't know much, so I didn't value asking the questions and fostering open communication, and it made it very, very challenging. It made it very challenging. And then after I started understanding and learning what is a leader, what type of leader am I, we still have to get results. At the end of the day, we just have to get it done. Let's just get it done. Everyone can go home. We can relax. We can enjoy. We can celebrate. We can do all things that we want to do. Let's get it done. Let's enjoy the process. Once I shifted from it's about me to it's about them, things shifted. They shifted. The experience became better. The team grew stronger. You get to understand. I got to understand where their strengths are, where their weaknesses are, what do they want, and it just flowed easily and effortlessly. And when it came time to healthily challenge the team, like individuals in the team, to see, okay, are you ready for that next step? Because we all need to be healthily challenged, believe it or not. They accepted wholeheartedly. And they gave their very best. And that is what you want. So when it comes to embracing diversity and inclusion, remember that every voice needs to be heard. They want to know that they're heard, and they need to feel valued because they are valued. And don't forget the equal opportunity as well. If that, it's there's all of these things. There's so much richness and strength when you have a diverse team. There's a richness and a strength when you have a diverse team. Because remember, if you're looking at it also from a business perspective, if you are selling a product and or a service, and perhaps someone is a particular culture, for example, you can do all the research that you want, you have your R&D and you do all of the things and you're going out there. But if there's someone on your team, it's like, oh, you could get their insight. They can share their values. There's a difference. And you're not just doing that because of perhaps they're from a different culture and or there's some with some disability, both either visible or invisible, right? You can understand. You may not fully understand, but wow, this person lives this every day. They are living it every day. And if someone's living it every day, then hey, they can help. They can help. Their voice is something that is so valuable because you would not have looked at things from their perspective because you're not living it. You haven't experienced it to a full degree. I hope you all are enjoying today's conversation. I know I am, and I thank you guys so much for staying tuned. Don't forget, ask any questions. If you're watching the replay, don't forget, ask a question, and I will answer it or put it in the comments. Now, number 5, you want to empower your team and you want to trust them. You want to empower and trust them. Trust is key. This is why we start off with fostering open communication and start building the community, which is them understanding the mission, vision, and values. When people feel empowered, believe it or not, when people feel valued and they feel that they trust you and that you trust them, the entire dynamic shifts. You move from staff, co-workers, colleagues, to community. This aspect of empowering your team is where the community piece comes in. That's where that transition piece comes in. And we do this by giving them autonomy, taking ownership, being accountable, sometimes making some mild decisions. Remember, you don't have to make everything, you could hear them out. I understand in some cases, not necessarily a democracy, you're running a business. I understand that. But in order for you to have a strong and solid foundation, and we went through all of these things leading up to the trust piece, you have to kind of let them go. I've prepared them. I've given them the tools. I trust them now. They trust me. What can they do? You got to stretch them a little. You got to trust them and see what they do. How can they overcome this? If there's a challenge, are they coming? Do they need guidance and support? And of course, you're going to tell them, I'm here, and your role is to observe and to support, because at the end of the day, it's still a business. But they will go out of their way. And because you've fostered this communication, now, if there's a challenge, they can come to you without delay. They can come to you to figure out what is the next steps. And that is so key. Remember, empowerment increases engagement and innovation. I'm going to repeat it. When your employees feel empowered, when they know that there is trust, you trust them, they trust you, it increases their level of engagement and their level of innovation. And this is key. When we look at Steve Jobs, for example, his team, the people on team, anyone building any sort of Mac product was innovative. He was the head, yes. He had lots of ideas, but other people also had lots of ideas as well. And so, he grabbed certain things, but they were also engaged. And because they were healthily challenged, what did they do? They were not, they started to produce. They wanted to work with him. They needed to work with him. They wanted to give the best product they could and the best service they could. And they were engaged every step of the way because he's trusting them to know their work. And if they don't, bye. See you later. Thanks for coming out. nice to meet you. It's not a bad thing. Sometimes it just is. Not everyone can handle the pressure. Not everyone can be in the community that you're building. Not everyone not every situation is for everyone, and you got to accept that, right? Trust also leads to higher morale and stronger collaborations. You want high morale. When morale is high, people will give you all. When morale is high, they're working more efficiently. They become more effective at what it is that they are, whatever it is that they specialize in. And your community, that collaboration piece, becomes stronger. And that means that loyalty now is starting to build. And that's where the trust piece comes in. So you go from colleagues, coworkers, to community because of trust. And with time, as they have autonomy, as they start taking accountability for what they're doing, guess what's going to happen? Their engagement is going to increase. Their innovation on an individual level will increase. And then together as a team, it will increase. And that, my friends, leads to the loyalty, because now they have they have high morale. They have a stronger communication. You also want to invest in professional development to grow the leaders within your team. It is important that they know that, hey, one day I'm not going to be here. You might be next, or maybe you may choose to go somewhere else or start something else. You're the next leader. And that's also where that loyalty piece comes in. Because as you start empowering your teams, you're preparing them, you're equipping them for the future so that they can actually achieve their own individual goals. Someone's going to replace you one day. It's a fact. So you might as well train them properly. And if they do leave and either start their own business, start their own company, or work for another company, they trusted you. There's loyalty there. And they will open up their network to you. Regardless if you think their network is above you, beneath you, whatever. They will see you as a mentor. They will see you as a guide. They will call you to help navigate whatever it is that they need help navigating. And that is priceless. It just is. And I know I took a little bit longer time here, but I really hope you guys understand that transition from colleagues and coworkers to community, and how that community leads to trust. And the trust leads to loyalty. And that is priceless. So as you're tuned in and you're watching this, and as you're tuned in and you're thinking to yourself, well, this sounds great, but I'm not sure. Well, you know what? No. Build your community. Start today. You need a loyal team that will follow you. Think Napoleon. Look at Nelson Mandela, God rest his soul. Okay? This man was in prison and he had the loyalty of a nation. He built a community of South Africa. A whole country became a community. He had to scale it down that size. And then, of course, he became the president, prime minister. I'm not sure if it's president or prime minister. Anyways, he ended up leading the country. Valued respect, loyalty, even in prison, after prison. He influenced nations. He influenced business. They came to him. Kings came to him. He didn't have to go. They would come to him, right? Because he took a nation and he built a collaborative community and a strong culture. All right, I'll move on from there. I could go on and just that one topic alone. It is so exciting to me, but I will move on. I know we all have to go soon. Don't forget, if you have any questions or comments, put it in the comment below. I want to hear from you. Okay. The next step is recognizing and celebrating their contributions. Who doesn't want to be celebrated? Who doesn't want to be acknowledged for the work that they're doing? Every single person wants to be acknowledged. Everyone wants to be celebrated. It's just like, wow, thank you. I worked so hard. Good job. And we have to remember also the recognition and the celebration looks different for everyone. Some people like it quietly. Some people, for them, having a plaque on the wall isn't, it's like, oh, thanks. This is nice. I appreciate it. Thanks. I got a slice of cake or something. I don't know. Or a gift card. Thank you. Yeah, we did a great job. And of course, there's the bonuses that you can use, the special recognition in the email wide campaign, just like celebrating them throughout the entire company, whatever it is. That is just so supportive. And for some people, just even hearing about their wins, maybe they took classes outside of and training outside of their work so they can become better. They can work on those areas of improvement that is needed. And you're celebrating it perhaps just within your team. It doesn't have to be company-wide, right? Those things in itself is huge. Like, wow, good on you. They feel appreciated. How can we use your new skill? How can we utilize it? How can we support you so that you can get the experience that you need? Right? And it just transforms people because their value level, their self-esteem, their confidence, and their competence grows even higher. I cannot stress that enough. It absolutely 100% does. And although that plaque or the bonus is like once a year or something like that, that feeling that they have is going to last, the feeling that they have. And so as you built up all of these different stages, the 5 steps that I was sharing with you, now you get to this part. You have your community, you're celebrating those who are going the extra mile, who are doing the things, who is being the leader that they need to be, not only for themselves individually, but for the team. So celebrate them, understand what gets them excited in that sense, and you will also notice a difference. And one of the other things too is that when other people start seeing that they're being recognized, one of their team members is being recognized, to some degree, that encourages others to want to take the next step in their journey. We get to leading by example. Leadership sets the tone for culture and collaboration. When I think of this, lead by example, I was in the military for many, many years. As some of you may or may not know, I don't know. If you guys know, I've done that almost 14 years of my life. And when you're a leader, you have a tempo that you're marching to, or you're like a beat to the drum, right? It's like boom, boom. It could be like, or it can be whatever that tempo is. And I will tell you that some people will be able to keep up with the tempo, other people will not. But if you build a community regardless if someone is struggling to keep up with the tempo, because we're only as strong as the person that needs the most support. Back in the day, they used to say, you're only as strong as your weakest link. Old military term. I think now it's a bit different, but people say it differently, right? We're only as strong as the ones that need the most support. It's you have to get to understand where people are at. So every step of the way, we look at that and we understand where they are so that we can know what tempo they are at to be able to meet us and to walk with us as we build this community so they do not be left behind. In the military, when there is PT, physical training, everyone has to go for a run every morning. You like it or not. It's cold, not cold, you're outside running. And there are those who are in the front, the elite runners, the sergeant major running. There are those in the middle, slow and steady, wins a race. They're keeping the pace at the tempo. And then there are those who, after a while, they're like, okay, I'm kind of struggling a little bit. I need a little help here. And there's another instructor that's right there, right? Another senior leader that's there running with them and saying, you got this, keep going. They're encouraging them. And so when we're leading by example and we're marching to the beat of our drum, we got to make sure that our community, our team is able to keep up. And if they're not, it's okay. Are there tools in place? Is there an SOP? Is there a strategy in place to help them get to that place, to be able to march to the beat, to the tempo, right? When you look at Napoleon Bonaparte, like him, don't like him, I'm just mentioning him for what he did with his country. He built a community out of his country during a very challenging time. History is history. It's there. I'm not saying it's right, wrong. I'm just saying it's history. And he got an entire military to march to the beat. He had a country marching to the tempo, to a beat, his beat. He unified them. He built that community in his country. He made them proud. Of course, later he crowned himself emperor, and then he became, a little egotistical and, self-righteous. But for many, many years, aside from, the battle that he lost, a very important one, his people followed him. They were loyal. They trusted him, even in the darkest of time, even when they couldn't see the sunlight. They knew that they knew he knows the way. He's cleared the path. We have to follow him. Even when he faltered and people thought they could take his army away from him, they could not, because loyalty and trust and open communication, and they knew where they stood. And so when you're leading and you're looking at your leadership, it is very important for you to understand that people are looking to you. They're looking to you. They're looking to you to guide them. They're looking to you to defend them. They're looking to you to protect them. They're looking to you. Yes, you. Nod your head, yes, you. Leader, you. Director, you. CEO, you. You. They're looking to you to help them through every storm, every fire, every situation. They're going to march to the tempo of and to the rhythm of the drums that you're walking. They will do that. And this is not something new that I'm saying to you. I'm probably using different words, but I know John C. Maxwell talks about this too, in terms, especially when it comes to leadership, right? So what you do is important, and I want you to understand that, and I want you to be very, very aware of that. I missed one. Oh, I missed one. I'll go back. Then you want to create a psychological safety. This is an environment where they feel safe and they share ideas and take risks without fear of judgment. I know I touched on it. I did touch on it for a second there, but this is where, in terms of the psychological safety, if some, let's say they've done something and it doesn't work out. I'm going to use the word quote unquote fail, right? How are you encouraging them? How are you responding, actually? Not even just encouraging. How are you responding to when something doesn't work out? How are you helping them navigate that? Remember, if something isn't working, a lot of people take it personal. Like, man, I failed. That's how I failed. They take it upon themselves. It's a burden. It's a heavy burden. But how you respond to it, it helps them release that burden and release that shame and release that guilt and release all the things that is associated with that burden of failure, so that they can learn, okay, this didn't work. Like Edison, right, with the light bulb. It took him over 1,000 times. Let's just keep going. That didn't work. Let's try something else. Okay. And remember that if something doesn't work, it's okay. Have a team discussion. Consult with someone else. Have a group meeting. Why didn't this work? What do you think? Have you tried this? This is why you have the community. No man is an island unto himself. I repeat it. No man is an island unto himself. This is why you've built a community. Something's not working. You got to figure out why. And you have a community that can help you. Yes, help you to be able to solve the problem. And this is why we give them accountability. And this is why we want to foster open communications and show them that our core values is instilled within. And this is why you build the community and you empower them so that they can trust you and they can be loyal, because as they build loyalty, psychologically, they feel safe. They feel safe. And when people feel safe psychologically, it becomes effortless. It becomes more efficient. They become more effective. They will give you more. You may not recognize it. You may not realize it, but it does, especially as you go through these 8 steps. Are you guys all with me so far? Thank you so very much. Don't forget, if you're watching the replay, you could ask your questions. For those of you who are tuned in, thank you so much. You've been tuned in from the beginning. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Don't forget to put it in the comments. Now, tips for implementation. We're going to start off small. Rome wasn't built in a day. No nation actually was built in a day. So you got to take small steps. Focus on 1 or 2 things to build your community. And the best place to start off is communication. So you might think to yourself, Delisa, right now, I am a good communicator. I'm excellent. I know what's going on. Guess what? We all have work to do with our communication. All of us. Because you might be the best person. Like, you might think to yourself, you're really great at communicating. Well, we don't know how our tone, we don't know how our words impacts and influences another person. We don't know what triggers, what situation that they're coming in. And so it's a continuous, ever-evolving journey and process. It's a beautiful thing. It's also a lot of work, but It is a very much beautiful thing. So take the small steps. Don't try to be a superhero. No, leave that to Marvel and DC Comics and all those people to create the superheroes, right? You just start small, take the little steps, implement the things that need to be implemented because your foundation will become unshakable. And you want a very solid and strong foundation. So if anything happens, your people will know what to do. And instead of reacting, they will respond. And that's what we want. You want them to be able to respond. All right. The other thing, you want to encourage feedback and you want to refine the process. Ask questions. Ask questions. Why didn't this work? How isn't this working? And refine it. How can we be better? Is there a better app? Is there a better way of speaking? Is there a better way to boost morale? Whatever it is, I don't know. Ask for feedback. Refine the process. Build a united community. So regardless of whatever happens, they have your back and you have their back because that trust is there. And you want to use tools that foster collaboration in your space, in your office space, right? You can use project management tools like Asana, Trello. I think there's Slack as well, especially when you're doing projects and you want to have communication. Some people are working at home, so there's hybrid working, then there are those in office. And you'd also need to include them, right? Especially if they work from home. And that's a whole other topic in itself with hybrid work. I know I discussed it a bit on a past episode. So do that. And finally, be consistent. Be consistent and committed to the long-term cultural shift. Be consistent and be committed to the long-term cultural shift. It's not going to happen in a day. I mentioned to you, Rome was not built in a day. No nation was built in a day. It takes time. This is the long-term game. And what happens when you look at any company, and I mentioned Google, right? Year after year, one of the top companies people want to work for. They like working there. They enjoy it. There's some other bigger corporations that people are like, man, I love working there. It's a great space. Nobody wants to quit. Nobody wants to leave and go anywhere else. Why? Because it's just a great space. The culture is so good. They do their job. They're not stressed. I mean, we all have stress, but they're not stressed to the point where they're like, there's a high turnover. Nobody wants a high turnover, right? So think of it as long-term. So any new person that comes in, they're coming into a culture, into a community that is already established. Yes, that's what we want. And that's what these top companies do. They focused on the community aspect. It takes time, and they are where they are in the top 10, right, or 20. There's many of them that people are like, I got to work there just for the culture. I think it's great. They want to be part of a community. We live in a time where we're so separated that people want community. They crave it. They thirst for it. They need it. They want to be part of something valuable and important. They want to make a difference. They want to have the impact and the influence. And your organization and your leadership is going to help them fulfill their purpose as they use their expertise. So your community and the foundation on which your community stands is so extremely important. So remember, it takes time. So don't forget the importance of collaboration and culture in the workplace. That's what we discussed today. And start making those small changes. I covered about 7 or 8 strategies that you can use. I gave you some really great examples about building the community and how you build it to to breathe trust that brings loyalty. Okay. So if you are ready to begin, building your own collaborative culture, your own collaborative community, don't forget one small step at a time and reach out to me. Ask me any questions. Get to know me. This is happening. I want to know. I want to know what's going on in your team. What's going on in your organization? How can you make it that 1% better? How can you take your leadership to be that 1% better so that your community is united, your community is stronger, your community is full of trust and loyal people who want to help you win as you are helping them win. So thank you so very much, every single one of you, for tuning in, as well as for watching the replay. I want to hear your thoughts. I want to know if this has brought you benefit. Put it in the comments, let me know, and or reach out to me, send me a DM. Have an incredible day, and I will see you next week for another episode of B2B Live.